Hello, hello. Nearing the end of the year, so I wanted to give up a little update on marijuana legalization, some of the stocks that I've been looking at. Uh, you know, 2022 seems like it's going to be a big year for marijuana. Even if you just do the math, look at the numbers. 2022 somehow equals 420. You add those twos together, put that in front of the 20. There you go. You got your 420. But we're seeing a lot of news popping up every week about marijuana and about the future of marijuana and what's going on. One of the things from Bloomberg out is about hemp. So the history of marijuana. Marijuana used to be something that was like mandatory to grow on every farm because they would use hemp for so many different things, creating rope, fabrics, tons of different things. It has a lot of uses. One of the big things with hemp back in the day was that they used to make a plastic out of hemp that was way more environmentally friendly than the plastics patents, using oil-based ingredients. And I think that's one of the reasons, if you really know your history with DuPont and the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, one of the big motivators in making marijuana illegal was protecting the oil-based patents for plastics. So that's a big deal. Now it seems like we're coming full circle. They're starting to ban certain plastics. There's carbon caps and things like that. So guess what? Hemp's back in play. We definitely need it. It's definitely the environmentally friendly, renewable resource that we should be, looking at here. So we got Bloomberg talking about that. So this is very, very positive news for the future of marijuana. We all know that we got to get something done in 2022. Germany is on its way to legalizing, which is a big deal. We talked about this a few weeks ago. They're not the first country or EU country to legalize. That title belongs to Malta. Malta we talked about a couple of weeks ago too. They just ended criminalization and made efforts to try to take it easy on marijuana users. If you're a kid, don't even ticket you just get referred to a treatment program. But like we said before, Germany's already following suit. They're going to make it happen pretty soon. And it looks like Australia is on its way too, where their support is just increasing and increasing. That said, we get a lot of positive articles from the mainstream media about marijuana and the positive effects. Here goes one about marijuana and autism, where someone shares their story about how that worked for their family. I think that's huge. We also talked about a couple of weeks ago or a week ago how the Democrats are planning on pushing for some kind of marijuana reform this spring. Let's see, what they can do. I've been pitching it or talking about it back and forth. If we can't get this infrastructure bill passed, if we can't get anything passed, marijuana might be something that a bipartisan group could look at to try to get something through Congress before this midterm election that's coming up at the end of the year or towards the end of the year. So I think that this might be the catalyst to get marijuana reform done. Again, there's a lot of issues where we need regulation. There's constantly these little articles popping up about different incidents that are happening around illegal marijuana businesses and things like that. So this one appears it's out in Buffalo, New York. They had a little pop-up shop where people were going to, get their marijuana and smoke up and do whatever. And there happened to be a shooting because, without the regulation, everybody's holding cash, and it makes you ripe for the pirates out there, the gangsters that are trying to get their piece too, trying to tax. Montana is set to legalize starting the beginning of the year, so that should be interesting. Watch them, see what's going on. Wisconsin, they're talking about drug-related pardons and things like that. So that's a positive step towards the future. We do have that bipartisan bill that was meant for helping states process expungements and whatnot for nonviolent marijuana crimes. Hopefully that gets some attention in Congress and gets out there so the states can get some more money to try to, put a stop or, somewhat of a reversal on the horrible effects that marijuana being a Schedule 1 drug has had on minority communities and just general people that are using marijuana. More often minorities, even though we all know, this isn't a minority-only drug. Everybody's using it, but for some reason they're just cracking down on black and brown people out there. So interesting stuff is always going on in Colorado, where new laws are going into effect. I think a huge issue, that we need to deal with is, how you're going to deal with driver's licenses and marijuana and so on. I don't think this article is necessarily talking about that, but that's definitely an issue that people, want sober drivers. How do we make sure that that's happening? The U.S. Supreme Court looks like it might be getting in the mix. This was announced a couple of weeks ago, where the Supreme Court is being asked to, settle some disputes about whether employers or their insurance policies would have to reimburse their employees for medical marijuana use and whatnot. I think, if it's medical, it just seems to me that it's a no-brainer, but the fact that it's still a Schedule 1 substance and highly illegal in the federal government, I think that is what's causing the big issue, because these insurance companies, number one, they rarely ever want to pay, but if they have an issue where they think, oh, well, we would be supporting some type of criminal activity or some type of illegal activity, they're worried about liability on that end too. So that could be a very, very valid concern. And maybe the Supreme Court will get in on this, or maybe Congress will do something about this. But it just seems unconstitutional to me to keep marijuana in such a illegal Schedule 1 status. Another issue that's coming up before the courts is the residency issues related to medical marijuana dispensaries and getting proper licenses for medical use and things like that. Most of the states, they're requiring you to live in that state in order to get it. So if you wanted to get medical marijuana in Florida, you have to live in Florida and apply and go through their process. I think that's similar in a lot of other states where it's just medical and not full-on recreational. So this is an interesting issue about interstate commerce and how federal law comes into play. My instinct is it seems like it would be fair for them to restrict it to their residences just because of the Schedule 1 status of marijuana and how it is illegal federally. But who knows? Because I'm not sure. How do you raise interstate commerce as an issue when you're talking about a product that's illegal? I don't know. This is some interesting questions that the court's going to be looking at here. So excited to see, what's going to be happening in the future. As you know, I am a big fan of Sundial, and Sundial had a nice little bump for Christmas. The nice little Santa rally jumped it up to about 68 cents, and then it started coming down a little bit, and it's right now at about 62 cents. It might go a little lower. I'm not sure. I had predicted that it would go as low as 47 cents before the end of the year, and it hasn't even gotten anywhere near that just yet. So it's possible that it's not. It's going to stay above 60, and then my prediction, like I said, it's got to jump up to that dollar before February 7th. I don't see Sundial allowing themselves to do a reverse split or getting delisted off of the NASDAQ, so I'm expecting them to use that buyback program to try to bolster up the price, get it up there. There's also talks of them purchasing marijuana or an alcohol company that's out in Canada that might also add into their assets and revenue. So I'm very bullish on Sundial. I'm believing that it's going to at least double the money coming February, but we will see what happens. So Canopy out in the news. Again, this is another one you see that had this little Santa rally where it got a little bump, and it's kind of coming back down to the former price. Not all the way down, but it's there. Same thing for Trulieve over here, where they had a nice little bump for Christmas, and then it's starting to come back down. So that would have been a great opportunity if you bought over here right before that Santa rally. But even then, I don't know. If legalization happens, all of these stocks are going to keep blowing. They're going to keep growing. So that's exciting. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, not your lawyer. Please, seek professional advice. Do your research, do your due diligence. There's money to be made out there. This is, of course, some of these stocks are a huge gamble. One of them that I've mentioned before, which I thought has been interesting, is CGRW. So this is one of those over-the-counter market penny stocks that I have been watching all year. I bought in. My cost average is about 7 cents. This just dropped down recently below that. Before it was about 7 cents. And the only reason my cost average is there is because I bought it, I think, at 9 cents or somewhere around there, and I just keep cost averaging it. But this one, I was skeptical. I was ready to bail out of it because it December 20th, out of nowhere, it just tanked. It hit about 4 cents. And I just wasn't ready to buy in. I was a little skeptical. I'm kind of, regretting that. I could have, dollar cost averaged a little bit more and brought my price down lower, but I don't know. These are one of these, like, this stock is something that you might have your money stuck into because you can't find someone to buy it off of you. So you got to be really careful when you're delving into some of these penny stocks because they're high risk and there may not be someone out there willing to buy. But if you look, we got a 52-week high of 32 and a low of 3 cents. So, you know, that's a very volatile bounce. It's very high risk, but it could be a very high reward, especially if there's, you know, news coming out saying that marijuana legalization is happening. I could easily, this 32-cent bump right here that was a 52-week high, that was off of the Democrats coming into to power, and the thought that Democrats would be pushing for marijuana legalization, which didn't happen, you know, not in any kind of significant sense anyway, but that resulted in a bump to 32 cents for this. So, you know, if you're in there at 5 cents, 7 cents, you're talking about tripling your money even more if that news gives that real bump. And I'm saying, I think February, March, you know, with this, you know, Congress is saying the spring, we're going to do it in the spring, we're going to do it in the spring, we'll see what happens. But if that does happen, there's money out there. There's money to be made. So it's highly speculatory. Be very careful. Do your research. Trust no one. Alright, people, like the video, please. Like the video. Subscribe. Help me get these numbers up. I'm trying to build up this channel. And we'll see you out there. Thanks for watching.